Alabama, let's get it.
The process, no one can stop this. Hottest show in the streets, I bet you can't top this. Rammer, jammer, yellow hammer, come see how we rock this. Alabama fans the best, there's no way you can top this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
The process.
Welcome to The Process, Crimson Tide Recruiting. I'm your host, Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine. Thank you guys so much for joining me today on Touchdown Alabama's YouTube page. As always, be sure to subscribe to Touchdown Alabama on YouTube to stay updated on everything Alabama football recruiting with The Process and yours truly. On this episode of The Process, I wanted to take a look at the concerns over coronavirus and COVID-19, what impact that has had on Alabama's recruiting efforts and the impact it will continue to have as Alabama continues to recruit guys in the 2021 and future recruiting classes. But before I dive deeper into that, I do want to hit you guys with some recruiting updates as I caught up with Alabama's 4-star 2021 quarterback target in Miller Moss out of California recently. He did tell me that Alabama's offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian has been in contact with them throughout his recruitment, even when Alabama had the commitment of 4-star quarterback Drake May out of North Carolina. Alabama was still contacting Miller Moss. He told me that his relationship with Alabama's offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian is a great one, and it's a personal one. You guys check out that article I did on Miller Moss on touchdownalabama.com. The link will be in this description as well. I also recently caught up with Alabama's 2021 4-star running back target and Donovan Edwards, the number 2 running back in the nation. He did tell me that Alabama's running back coach Charles Huff has been in contact with them daily. The link to that article will be in this description as well. Alabama did host a Junior Day event on March 7th. Reactions and updates continue to come from that particular event. I recently caught up with 2 3-star recruits who were at that event in Tuscaloosa on March 7th, and Jordan Gilbert, a 3-star athlete out of Louisiana, and Elijah Arroyo, a 3-star tight end out of Texas. You guys can check out those guys' reactions on touchdownalabama.com. The links to those articles will be in Touchdown Alabama's YouTube page in this description of this video. As always, you guys can click on all those links to stay updated on everything Alabama football recruiting with The Process and yours truly. But as I said earlier, I wanted to break down some of the impacts the coronavirus and the concerns that people have over COVID-19 and the impact it has had on Alabama's football recruiting efforts. So with that being said, let's get the process started. Now I'm going to break down the impact concerns over COVID-19, aka the coronavirus, has had on Alabama football recruiting. For those of you who may not know, the NCAA has implemented a dead period for all sports when it comes to recruiting for their particular sports. This means that Alabama's coaching staff cannot host any recruits for unofficial visits or official visits. Their particular coaches cannot visit any recruits at home, so all visits are off. All in-person contact with recruits are off at this very moment due to concerns over the coronavirus. Alabama's recruiting efforts will mostly and basically be over the phone, through text messages and through written mail. For those guys in the 2021 recruiting class, Alabama can call those guys and text those guys. When it comes to guys in 2022, 2023 and future recruiting classes, Alabama is not able to make that type of contact with those guys who are not rising seniors at the moment. Only way Alabama could contact those guys if it was not a dead period and they got those guys on campus for unofficial visits. So that is something to keep a note on when it comes to how the coronavirus is impacting Alabama football recruiting efforts. And when you look at Alabama football recruiting efforts, there are some positives when it comes to what most of the sporting world has done when it comes to cancellation for their particular sports due to concerns over the coronavirus. The first positive is the fact that the players' protections, the players' health is the first thing that comes to mind when you look at those kids that could play in those games and could contract the coronavirus or something else worse could happen. So that is a big plus for the NCAA implementing in the entire sports world, implementing those cancellations, protecting those players, protecting those people, and protecting the fans that would like to go attend those sporting events. Another positive is the fact that this is something that the NCAA has implemented, which means that everyone is on an equal level playing field. No one has an advantage. This is not something that a particular conference has done. The entire NCAA has done this, so no one has an advantage. Everyone has to contact those guys through off-campus contact when it comes to phone messages and text messages and phone calls and things like that. So no one has an advantage. So that is something to keep a note on. That's a positive, something that the NCAA is enforcing, making sure everything is on an equal level playing field on the recruiting trail for major Power 5 programs. But something else to keep a lookout for when it comes to Alabama's recruiting efforts, the impact the coronavirus has had on Alabama's recruiting efforts is the fact that this was supposed to be a huge month for Alabama, a huge couple of months when you look at Alabama hosting guys for the A-Day event, which was canceled on today. When you look at Alabama hosting guys throughout the month of March, for example, 5-star defensive end Thomas Adelaide was expected to visit the University of Alabama for 3 days during the month of March. 4-star wide receiver Hall was expected to visit the University of Alabama during the month of March. Adelaide is the guy who will announce his commitment in August. Hall will announce his commitment in August as well. And in Alabama, getting those guys on campus as much as possible before their commitment day is going to be huge for Alabama. So that is something to keep a note on, something that could have an impact with Alabama's chances on both of those guys, as Alabama still looks to be in the mix for both of those kids. So just something to keep a note on, the impact those cancellations and the impact these restrictions has had on Alabama's recruiting efforts. But you also have to look at it from this perspective when you look at the fact that Alabama continues to offer guys, and they want to get those guys on campus as soon as possible. And a lot of guys who received an offer from the University of Alabama over the last couple of months were expected to visit the university between March and April during the spring months. And one of those guys were 3-star safety, 2021 safety, and Dakota Mitchell, who actually cut his top school list down recently, and Alabama was not included. He was expected to take a visit to the University of Alabama on March 28th. Since he has not visited the University of Alabama at the moment, it's kind of hard for him to put them in his top schools list. Alabama's recruiting efforts is going to be impacted in that type of way. Guys who have never visited the University of Alabama wanted to get on campus for the first time. And I think Alabama could miss out on that experience with Alabama's recruiting efforts being so restricted at the very moment. But as I said earlier, this is something that is happening all over the NCAA. This is not just Alabama, so it's just something to keep a note on. And this is the way Alabama's recruiting efforts is being impacted when it comes to concerns over coronavirus and in COVID-19. Alabama's recruiting efforts are getting impacted in a lot of different ways, and another way it is getting impacted when it comes to guys who wanted to visit Alabama during the spring and hopefully looking to make a spring commitment. When you look at guys like 3-star defensive end Daryl Peterson out of Ohio, a kid who was expected to announce his commitment during the summer. He was going to possibly officially visit Alabama during the summer or possibly during the spring and visit his other final 3 schools in West Virginia and Wisconsin, visit those schools, and Alabama could possibly get his commitment because they were a huge player in this recruitment up to this point. So his commitment and his recruitment probably takes a hit, and this is going to happen to a lot of guys who wanted to make a summer or spring commitment. So it's just a lot of things that are going on with Alabama's recruiting efforts and everyone's recruiting efforts when it comes to the coronavirus and COVID-19. And I wanted to break down those things with you guys right here on the process, give you guys a breakdown of what is going on when it comes to Alabama football recruiting efforts. As I said, Alabama is contacting guys in the 2021 recruiting class every day, text messages all the time. When it comes to the 2022, 2023, or 2024, and just all those future recruiting classes, Alabama is still sending out mail as much as they can during this time period, during this uncertain time, to make sure those guys know that Alabama is still interested in them in any way that they can, basically sending out different things to those guys. As Alabama's recruiting efforts continue to move forward, we will continue to report. I will continue to provide information. I will continue to provide articles. The process will continue rolling as more updates come in. So I want you guys to make sure you guys stay updated with everything Alabama recruiting with the process. Thank you guys so much for joining me today on the process. As always, subscribe to Touchdown Alabama on YouTube. Then head over to touchdownalabama.com. Pick up a subscription to Touchdown Alabama. With that subscription, you'll be able to read all of our subscriber-only articles. You also get your hands on our yearly print magazine issue. For those of you who have already subscribed to touchdownalabama.com, this year's issue, it will be sent to you within the next week or so. So be on the lookout for that. As always, download the Touchdown Alabama app. With the app, you can stay updated on everything Alabama football and everything Alabama recruiting with touchdownalabama.com. As always, I am Justin Smith, the scouting recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine.
Process.